You are not crazy. You need to know that you are not crazy. So many women have chronic health issues and feel crazy because of them. When I was 22 years old, I started to have horrible symptoms that ranged from irregular and horribly painful periods to rapid and severe weight gain, 5 to 7 migraines a week, anxiety, depression. The first doctor that I saw walked into the room, heard 2 of my symptoms and said, "Oh honey, it's just an STD," and walked out of the room and came back with a shot of an antibiotic for an STD that would later prove to not be what I had. I didn't trust her after that, and I didn't go back. The average time it takes a woman to get a diagnosis from the time that her symptoms start is 9.28 years. That is a travesty for women who are suffering and need help. It took me 8 years, countless doctor's appointments, near-death experiences, and a trip to the ER to get my diagnosis of endometriosis and polycystic ovarian syndrome. Even after you get the diagnosis, the education and the treatment options are slim to none. Period pain is linked to almost 9 days per year of lost productivity for women in school and the workplace. I almost lost my job because I had lost so much work due to not being able to leave my house long enough to get to my office. Try selling real estate when you're bleeding constantly. The anxiety and the stress that caused only made my symptoms worse. The options that I was given was Vicodin to manage the pain, a series of birth control, hormonal replacements, hormone blockers, anti-seizure medications, thyroid medications, all to manage the symptoms, and it wasn't working. After a while, you start to feel crazy, like maybe they're all right. Maybe it is all in my head. But how do you make up symptoms like rapid and extreme weight gain, horrible bleeding, pain that's uncontrollable? Is that in my head? No, it is not. It is not in your head. One day I started to bleed uncontrollably, and it didn't stop for 3 years. That was when my doctor told me that I needed to have a hysterectomy. I was 27 and 2 weeks away from my wedding. The leading cause of death for women in the US is heart disease. Endometriosis triples a woman's chance of getting heart disease. We are 62% more likely to have heart attacks than women who do not have this disease. No one really talks about the emotional toll that chronic health issues can take on a person. That isolation heightens the risk of developing other conditions like depression and anxiety, which are very real side effects of these conditions. Because my symptoms were so severe with no end in sight, I became angry, depressed, and generally unhappy with my life that was, by all accounts, a really great life. I just didn't have the health I needed to actually enjoy it. I decided, after my experience, that I never wanted other women to feel as alone, helpless, and scared as I did. Awareness and education are key to self-advocacy. After my doctor scheduled me for my hysterectomy, I went home and started researching anything and everything I could to help me before it was too late. Educating myself gave me power to fight for myself in a way that I didn't have before. So I decided to go back to school so that I could help other women in my situation. Today, I am symptom-free. I did that with a series of lifestyle changes, a tailored supplement plan that fits my body chemistry and needs, and I am off all of my medications. Do you know what that means for me? Do you know how that feels? To be able to go on a vacation with my husband and not have to worry if I'm gonna feel good enough to actually enjoy it, or just getting a good night's sleep. That was huge. You just sleep through the night. People don't understand how glorious that is until you don't have it. Now I get to work with women every day as a natural health practitioner to help them find the answers that they need to live their best lives. I believe that everyone has the right to be heard, truly heard, and they need to know that they are not just the sum of their symptoms. There is hope.